Are you a pet entrepreneur and or pet marketing professional? Do you want a place where you can gain innovative marketing strategies, receive actionable advice, keep up with the latest trends, and thrive in today's market? Welcome to the Pet Marketing Mastermind. All guests are proven and successful marketers in the pet industry. Pete, welcome to the Pet Marketing Mastermind. Let's kick things off with your role at the APPA. What drew you to the position and what excites you about shaping the future of the pet products industry?
I've been as president and CEO of APPA for over 2 years now, about 2.5 years. And one of the things that drew me in is I spent 6 years on the veterinary side with the North American veterinary community. And the people in this industry and profession are incredibly warm, caring, collaborative, and collegial people. And so you want to, if you got to do a job, you want to do a job with people you like to be around. And it's a subject matter of pets and animals and animal welfare and pet care that, is a personal passion of mine between my own pets. And, it's a vibrant, growing industry that's fun to work in. So love the job every day.
That's amazing. What kind of pets do you have, Pete? That's not one of my questions, but let's dive into it.
I've got a mini golden doodle named Tucker.
Oh, amazing. I have a beagle named Mickey Mouse. So I love dog and pet people because I feel like they're happier.
My screen on my phone is my dog. Like my wife doesn't mind because it's our dog on her phone too.
I love it. Awesome. Going back to go forward a little bit. Sure. What was your first sales or marketing role, whether in the pet industry or another field? When was that first time or someone you had to put the marketing hat on? Could be a lemonade stand, your first job, or later on.
So my first job, I think, was about 12 or 13, and I was sweeping out houses for home builders. And the guy lived down the street, and I could always hear him complain to my dad about, I can't get anybody to do this. It's like, Dad said, why don't you go pitch him? And so started doing that and, just sweeping out houses and, that started that. Then I kind of worked I was a marketing manager while I was in college for a roller rink, promotions and things like that. And then with another partner, had kind of a side hustle company installing alarm and sound systems in new construction homes. And that turned into sales jobs and marketing jobs. So it is not a straight line path of my career. It does a spin through finance and being a financial analyst and going into PR and investor relations. So it twists and turns all over the place. It makes sense in the macro, but in the micro.
I like it's like following a map. I love that, from sweeping floors to managing a floor 4 times the size of Home Depot. I like it. It's a good parallel there. There it is. APPA recently released its 2025 report showing continued growth in the pet industry. From a marketing standpoint, what key trends should brands be paying close attention to right now?
I think that the biggest things that we are seeing is, for the first time, millennials and Gen Z own as many pets as Boomer and X. And they are very, as your listeners will know, that they are very, from product discoverability that used to be browsing in store is now TikTok. Used to be catalogs and magazines. I mean, I used to love those things. And now it's, Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and things like that. So the discoverability of products has shifted dramatically. The recognition of millennial and Gen Z of the human-animal bond means that pets are an extension of the family. It's the humanization of pets. So that is different than, we have a dog sleeps outside. To something that, well, of course the dog sleeps on the bed. And so it's an attitude towards pets, that they're part of the family, that what used to be discretionary spending is now obligatory spending. And so I think there's a shift there. At the same time, I think you're seeing a bigger trend in, transparent ingredients, sustainable packaging, sustainable products, ethically sourced, that new pet owners are probably, while price sensitive, especially in a tougher economy like now, you're also seeing them be more value-based. I want to know that the company's doing good and they make a good product versus I want the cheapest product. Now, you may say that the rise of Temu and Shein debunk that because people are buying stuff for pennies on the dollar. But there is a cohort of shoppers that would rather do good knowing that they buy from good companies.
Yeah, I think the brand value represents them. They see it on the shelf. They see it in their cart. It's like, you buy which company? Okay.
Yeah.
And it becomes almost socialization as well. Like, you follow that company on Instagram or TikTok,
Yep.
and you're kind of a part of their ecosystem as well. So it is this like reflection more so than it's like, oh, I bought a dog food. No, I bought the right dog food for my dog.
Right.
Because I believe in the brand and how they make it, and I've seen the manufacturing facility, and you can go so deep into some of these brands. On that note, speaking about Gen Z, understanding, maybe speak to a legacy brand that has maybe never approached Gen Z. What advice would you give them on like shifting that marketing or messaging to really capture Gen Z?
You know, at Global this year, I talked to a number of those legacy brands that believe that there is no shift in the marketing. You know, that it's not an omni-channel world, that it's social media is not for them. Again, pet owners are changing. In many cases, they want to have a conversation with a brand before they'll buy. You can't just run an ad and to a large group of people and hope you hit the right demographic. You've got to understand who your buyers are and what they want, and they are dramatically different. We recently spoke at the International Housewares Association's Inspired Home Show, and to really do some digging into the type of pet owner that buys pet products from an independent housewares and gift store is dramatically different than the majority of pet owners. They are buying birthday party gifts for their pets. They are buying birthday cakes. They are matching outfits to the dog to the person. They are doing TikTok and Instagram in store. They're wrapped up in the dog isn't the pet, the dog, the cat, the pet is an extension of me. That's not what you've seen before. And to say that my old marketing, my own packaging, the design of the packaging, we're entering into a definite major shift in how products are sold, how products are bought, and how they're shared. I think shareable moments are something that can't be ignored either by legacy brands that have never looked at that demo.
Absolutely. I was working with a brand, and their whole thing was the packaging had to align with the Instagram shot.
Yeah.
So it was like they put the packaging in a way where like the logo was logo out, so the Instagram shot would show the logo, and it was like the whole process of like how many times we went back, and they're like, well, we'll put it over here, and we're like, but then if they take a photo of the dog enjoying it, you're not going to see your logo.
Yeah.
And so like framing the shot, well, logo creation and packaging creation is one of those things that is fascinating.
And we're also doing some, looking at those pet owners who buy supplements and looking at some of the personas. You take somebody that as an old guy like me, I try not to be that old, but I look at my driver's license, it has my birth date on it, depresses me. But where you're really trusting veterinary recommendations, you're trusting the longevity of the brand, and you take somebody who is, early 30s, it's lifestyle, it's trends, it's performance. It's, I shop quick. I want to know it. I want snackable information. I don't want a huge, long, drawn out story. I want to know what it'll do. I want to know it works, and I want it now.
Yep, very much so. It's like we're on all buffets. Like just little moose boosh, little sample sizes. I love that. Going back to the organization side, you represent nearly 1,000 pet product manufacturers. Yep. What role does marketing play in helping these brands stay competitive and innovative?
In a lot of ways, and I'm biased because I was a marketing guy. So I'd say it's all marketing. That being said, I don't understand supply chain. So the supply chain guys right now are saying, no, that's blasphemy. It's all about the supply chain. But to me, it's understanding your values, understanding your brand, how to reach the consumer at the right place, the right time. Like nothing that your listeners don't know. I'm not going to say anything. It's like, boom, that was mind blowing. It's blocking and tackling, knowing how to approach the audience, and then putting the message together that sells. You look at most manufacturers now, and you call manufacturers what they really are, brands. Most don't manufacture their own product. Mm-hmm. You're sourcing it from, whether it's made in the USA or they're sourcing it from China or one of the other countries out there. Most are brands. And if you look at, and here's where I'll get your readers a little upset, is you look at the show floor of Global Pet Expo and take nutrition out of it. Big nutrition companies have massive budgets. There's not a lot of brands. There's a lot of companies that sell really cool products, but there's not a lot of brands that have a tremendous amount of name recognition to the consumer. Yeah, you'll have some small stuff, and independent pet stores will have some great products that's like, I love this product, I love this treat, because it's hitting on all the right notes. But I would say that marketing is so much of the game, but there aren't a tremendous number of well-known, well-established brands on the hard goods side.
I absolutely agree. And then A note that I was at Global Pet Expo this year. Absolutely love the show. Shameless plug. That and the Pet Summit. I noticed a lot of licensing, anywhere from Kentucky Fried Chicken to Harley Davidson. Do you think this is in response to not as strong brands that are on the floor? Is like, I'll take Harley's history or Kentucky Fried Chicken, which I never thought would be a vehicle to sell pet products. All respect to them and their efforts. That's probably data driven as well. But is that something you've seen as like an emergence of licensing and bigger brands coming into the pet space?
I believe so. Along with more celebrity, you've got Bobby Flay, you've got Jennifer Aniston, you've got a number of celebrities now entering the pet space. Some more athletes coming in, but I definitely think the licensing and that brand affinity is extending the viability of a product by associating with either the Colonel or Jennifer Aniston, Bobby Flay, something like that.
Yeah, it was something I've been in the industry for many years, and I was not expecting that, and it was fantastic to see it the first time, and I'm loving the emergence of it. Because then other industries and other things are taking a hard look at the pet industry and saying that's exactly where I need to be. Shifting just a little bit, APPA's mission includes expanding access to pet ownership through initiatives like pet-friendly housing and workplaces. How can brands effectively market these values to connect with purpose-driven consumers?
It was a number of people take credit for saying this, but nothing happens until the pet is brought home. And completely true unless you can't bring the pet home. If you're not in a pet-friendly housing situation, a lot of the pet-friendly housing really starts at a very local level. We're working with cities in Denver, San Antonio, the state of Ohio, and a few others on programs to really enable more pets in more homes. And that grows the industry across, it doesn't matter your pet of choice, whether it's shelter, whether it's a breeder, just get a pet you love. And I think it's easy to focus on your own business, and the importance of playing a role at a local level, I would say, is probably the most impactful for a small business, for a small manufacturer, small brand, a small retailer, to be able to say, if in my community I can get another 20,000 apartments or homes that can have pets, my business can do better. And so that's what we're trying to do on a macro level, but there's a lot of localized stuff that, on a hyper local level, that can really matter.
Yeah, imagine it's a lot of blocking, a lot of tackling, a lot of local to infect national. You're going, you probably could go city by city, but state by state, municipality by municipality to make pet friendly. Yeah, because if you don't have a dog at home, all of the marketing we just talked about falls on deaf ears.
Right. And I think I'm knocking on wood as I say this. I think there's a tipping point where you've got a couple programs that can work in a city, you back it up with some data. And I do think that there's a number of cities and counties that are kind of hungry for that, because more stable renters and homeowners is a more stable tax base. It grows a community, and to be able to do that, Mars is Better Cities for Pets is a great program that had a lot of rigor in its development. So I think all of those things make the pet industry better, and it makes it a better country and a better world for people and pets to live.
I love it. I'm excited to live in that world, and thank you for all your effort. And we love our dog. On that note, let's talk about that human-animal bond. How do you see this emotional connection shaping marketing campaigns in 2025 and beyond?
I think it's becoming more ubiquitous that there's an understanding of the connection to the bond, and Habry's done some research not only on the familiarity with the bond, but the program they did with the study they did with Banfield on $23 billion in human healthcare savings. I think that's becoming more, but it's certainly in marketing, it really does hit that message home of what's good for your pet is good for you. Because if you're walking your dog more, or you're playing with your cat more, or you're, playing with, running around with your rabbit, you're getting your heart rate up, you're not, binge eating Pringles on the couch. You're out there doing more things. And so our support of Pets in the Classroom not only provides great STEM education, and look, we support it. They do all the work, and they do amazing work of getting a child to be responsible and take care of a pet. That sense of responsibility instilled at an early age makes a tremendous difference over the lifetime of the person. And so the overall connection with the bond and how that should be marketed, especially to that, millennial Gen Z audience who inherently kind of understands it, I think is very important. It's not only good for the pet, kind of good for you too.
Yeah, provides value and joy and
Yeah.
happiness and physical health and better
It's a lot of
immunity
the
for
triggers.
kids. And yeah,
Yeah. A lot of the emotional stuff, not a lot of, it's not going to be quantifiable. It's not going to say this thing bounces 3 times higher or squeaks, less loudly to annoy others. It's a therapy. It's for everybody, and happy pets, happy people.
absolutely love it. One of my favorite ones was it was a parody on prescription medicine, and it was
Yes.
like, take once a day dog. And they did one for cats as well. And it was amazing. And you're like, if you think of it like that, the value add is incredible. So absolutely love the work there. Continue
And
on.
if people want to go look at that, you go to YouTube and you go to Pet Effect that Habry has. That has prescription dog and prescription cat. They've also got a video called the Woofus after The Office.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I will look it up and then put that in the show notes as well.
And that creative is 10 years old, but showing the power of good creative. It had a different, it wasn't meant for a broad consumer audience, but we show that thing either at Habry meetings or at other conferences, and a third of the half of the room that had been in the profession for a decade still haven't seen it. And so sometimes good creative endures.
Very much so, yeah. There's a legacy message that lasts, and that certainly is informing. I've seen kind of the marketing shifting towards that relationship, the humanization, as we spoke about before. So you're in a unique position, seeing both those legacy brands we talked about, and then startups. Imagine there's a new round of startups every year, and what differentiates the ones that really win in today's marketplace, and what are they doing differently when it comes to marketing?
I think they understand the power of not only education but storytelling. And look, they're mastering social. They're understanding that. I think they approach marketing and sales inherently more omni-channel and not just D2C online or retail. That they're looking at a number of different angles. I think they are not only in product development but in marketing message laser focused on exactly the value for the customer. I think some of the scrappier ones actually, know the cohort or the personas of their buyers, and tailor their message ever so slightly in social to, be laser focused on, if it's 18 to 25-year-old guys that are going to a shelter and getting a cat, the new cat program, they know how to tailor that message to that cohort or that persona better than a lot of legacy brands.
Very cool. Yeah, I love that laser focused and understanding on this emerging channel and saying, I'm going to win here, because the viewership numbers on those shorts and TikToks are in the billions daily. It is wild, the amount of eyeballs that are available. And so if you can win on those places, there's a lot of consumers there and a lot of opportunity for you to establish yourself as a new brand.
Yep, absolutely.
Trade shows like Global Pet Expo are massive opportunities for brands. What advice do you give brands looking to stand out on the show floor and generate that buzz, both obviously before the event and post the event?
So there's a good LinkedIn post on this the other week. To show up at a show is not cheap. It's expensive. We understand that. And the exhibit space that we provide is probably one of the cheaper components. You've still got hotel, you've got travel, you've got food, you've got staffing, let alone you've got to leave your business without coverage of you and the people you bring down. Like, it's a big investment. And one of the things that you see that upsetting, disturbing is not too traumatic. It's like people are just sitting there behind the counter on their phone. It's like, I can probably say Super Bowl here. I don't think the NFL is going to come find us, Joe. But this is your main event for the year. Yeah. And let's say you go to us or you go to Super Zoo. It's a big investment. Like, this is game time. You don't go out drinking the night before. You get a good night's sleep. You eat a decent meal. You have prepped for 3 months on who you want to meet. We had, 8 to 10,000. We've got to get the exact number. We have 10. Let's say you have 10,000 buyers representing, 100,000 doors. They're not necessarily looking for you. This is hand-to-hand combat. You've got to get out there. You've got to know who they are. Set meetings, set times. You should be a literal dish rag by the time the Friday at the end of a trade show comes. You just got to go to bed for a couple days. And then there's the follow-up. And there's getting product feedback on the floor of what do you like? What don't you like? What do you think? Will this sell? Will this sell to your customer in a retail store? So from a marketing thing of understanding, at a retail level who's buying, what their customers are looking for, from the meetings that you've got to set up ahead of time, from the time after with follow-up. It's hard. And it's honestly, it's not meant for everybody. Yes, people are there looking to buy, but you've got miles of aisles. Like, yes, it's the size of 6 Home Depots, but there are miles of aisles within there. Hey, take a Home Depot, try and find a product. There's a lot to look for. And there's a lot to look for on a trade show floor. And yes, visual appeal from a marketing perspective is important. There's some real standout booths, and we've engaged Jefferson Davis, whose company's Competitive Edge, who does 2 things. He works with newer exhibitors on the education of what we're talking about now, of how to show up, how to do this. And then he provides an audit of kind of your hits and misses of what your trade show booth actually looks like. So he's providing the education, and then he's providing an audit on the execution. And then him and his crew spend some time and pick out some of the best of the show. And I'd be happy to share that with you, to say these are the booths that, from an aesthetic to a guy who's seen 400,000 booths in the past, in his career, these are the best. Now, if you're not staffed well, doesn't matter. But from a visual aesthetic, these are the booths that are going to drive more traffic. To have that understanding, and we provide that education at no cost, I think is pretty invaluable. But it ain't easy.
Yeah, I've been to show floors, and you understand the investment, understand the cost, and you see people, they have their table and a couple handouts, and they're on their phone, and you walk by. Even as a buyer, I've walked by, and they're just it's like they got burned out on day one. Yeah, like, this is the first quarter of the Super Bowl. Your analogy there, I think, is perfect. It's like, this is the first quarter of the Super Bowl. And there could be a really big opportunity walking by you right now, and you're not in it.
For a 10 by 10 booth, you have got a stride and a half to get for somebody to notice you. I mean, you think the average pace that somebody walks, even call it a crowded aisle, a stride and a half isn't much. And if you're not designing your booth, designing your product, and designing your staff on how to show up, it all has to be extremely intentional. Yeah. Again, laser focused. If who's winning, laser focused.
Yeah. What I love about the booth space is it is a marketing Shark Tank, because it is like all of the things, all of your marketing in that booth, in quick, hitting the right demographic. Like, it is like you're just taking. It's like, yep, that's it. Oh, okay. And then you move by. If you miss the mark, you're potentially, a bunch of doors gone.
From a metrics perspective, it's understanding what's reasonable. And again, Jefferson goes through this. He's got a great spreadsheet that's on our website, on our exhibitor resource center, of, you've got a 10 by 10, you're staffed here, you can expect this many people to walk by. And if you say, wow, if I don't get 400 leads, this show sucked. It's like, there may be only the capacity for 60. But if you're closing 20% of the 60, and that's got a lifetime value of X, you've got a 10 times return. Like, I think it's knowing your numbers of what's reasonable to expect and what's not, just if it's not this huge outrageous number, then the show sucked. Or if I didn't get PetSmart and Petco to buy everything I got, it didn't work out. I think it's also having a realistic expectation of what victory looks like.
Excellent. Yeah. It's so important too, because they walk in eyes wide open, understanding that. And that's why the show has been so successful for so many years, is that you've been able to prepare, set up, meet or exceed those expectations. So then next year, the conversation continues and it becomes a staple in the industry. With a kind of backing to the marketing and data side, with a growing focus on data and consumer insights, how can companies use your APPA research to inform smarter or strategic marketing decisions?
Yeah, within the research, there's a lot of data. What used to be a 400 or 643 page book is, we've reformatted it so it's easier and a little more digestible. But I think it's spending time with the data, and then we've got a team that can answer questions. Our analysts are available if you're stuck. They're not going to walk you through slide by slide to explain everything. But if you've got a question of, wow, we're really seeing this trend with cat ownership, and I've got a cat product, and what does that really mean? We can certainly help with that. If you look at some of them in terms of discoverability, in terms of what product attributes are resonating, that's where you get overwhelmed. Yeah, that's where you can really hit some things, because the overall size of the research, the amount of data in there is overwhelming. And so what we're trying to work on is, what are the top 10 things you need to do to win this year?
Love it.
To make it short, to make it digestible, because in a lot of cases, you're not just marketing, you're customer service, you're fulfillment, you're everything. And so for especially smaller businesses that are really trying to figure out how to crack the code, and they're trying different things and they're experimenting all the time, I think we can provide some good directional things to help some of those tests and experiments play.
During the Pet Summit, I think on day one, you guys walk through some of the data. I think I shared some of it on my LinkedIn on a day one report, and it was fantastic. I love the realistic, and then also looking optimistically moving forward, because it's like you have to understand, hey, this is where sales are actually shifting towards. You can't, understanding that there are potentially people in that room that are incentivized that not to happen, right? But you as the industry is like kind of keeping steady and saying, hey guys, we're moving away from retail to e-commerce. But being in the brand role and the marketing role, understanding that and how you position that is so well done. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we'll keep on getting better every year.
Yeah.
We always say, if you've got a perfect year, it's the last one you can do it.
I like it. So, incremental growth. I love it. So speaking to maybe a new pet entrepreneur, new pet marketing, pet business entrepreneur, what is one advice that you would give them? They're starting their brand. This is maybe year one into it. What would be that one piece of advice you'd give them inside track and something you would do if you were in their shoes?
Know my customer, know that customer is not everyone, and really work on product market fit and go to market strategy of knowing the attributes, knowing what they want, knowing what else they can buy. Again, it's that laser focus thing that you're really seeing people win. And we had that startup area this year. And kind of between that new product showcase and what's new, you can really see those brands that know what their product does, know their market, and know why somebody should buy it. It's not a long drawn out story. It's not, you watch that Shark Tank thing, Mark Cuban's line of, don't tell me, if I get 1% of a $152 billion industry, you'll get tossed off the carpet faster than anything else. Versus I have a product that does this. This is how it's differentiated from other products out there, and this is my consumer, and this is how we can reach them, and we know how to do this.
I love that. I love that laser focus, dialed in, know exactly who that audience is. Because also when you know that audience, then that really drives your potential product journey as well. You're talking to them in a chat, you're talking to them in a group, and they're like, hey, did you know we needed X? And you're like, I had no idea. And then you roll that out for it. And then it's continuous conversation, product development, development, because you really know who they are and developing that. And love that insight and precision on the advice as well. And finally,
some of the software programs that we use, when we're part of the roadmap, the development roadmap, and we're somewhat co-creating product that not just helps us, but helps other clients. Same thing in pet, same thing with a product. If you can create products with your customers, because they're going to tell you what to buy, what to do, and some will pre-buy it, even if you do a small drop just to see how it works. I think that's how you can really, really win in the year in the pet market.
Excellent. And finally, for those looking to learn more and get involved with APPA, where can they go, and what should they know about becoming a member?
AmericanPetProducts.org. That'll get you to everything that we have. It'll help you understand the Pet Summit, the Pet Industry Leadership Summit that we do with WPA, PIDA, and Pet Advocacy Network in January. Our research, our advocacy, and what we're doing to give back. And that really gives you an understanding of why become a member. It's more than Global Pet Expo. It's what we're doing in thought leadership. It's what we're doing in research and insights. Yes, we've got a trade show that we're really proud of, but where our journey is and knowing our customer and trying to be laser focused on 3 or 4 things that we can do well, that's really where APPA is headed, is to be laser focused, knowing who our customers are and giving them products, experiences, and events throughout the year that can really help make them more successful in the industry.
Amazing. You're practicing what you preach, laser focus, dialing in on that customer, and doing a fantastic job at it. Well, Pete, thank you so much for being on the Pet Marketing Mastermind. Thank you all for listening. Make sure to subscribe. Go check out the APPA and all their amazing events and masterminds and all they do all in the year. Absolutely wonderful. Pete, thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe. And thank you for everyone listening. It's been a lot of fun.